at some upcoming auctions, let's go ahead and talk about bad deals reviewed. What were they thinking?
Yeah, bad deals reviewed. What were they thinking? This is a fun topic always, because it's interesting to to try to understand why people might pay for certain properties, or why they might go after them aggressively.
Yeah, so this was a property that sold recently. In fact, it just sold here this month. It started out at an opening bid of $4,000, had an assessed value of $4,831. So the assessed value was about $800 more than the opening bid amount.
And it sold for $25,000.
Sold for $25,000, which means that not just one person bid on this lot, but you had at least two people that were willing to bid it up to $25,000. Now, for a lot of you, you can automatically see, just by looking at the photo, what some of our concerns are going to be.
Yeah, it's a 3,000 square foot lot. You can see right down there in this the primary zone there that you've got listed there under 2,100 estates. You have to have a 15,000 square foot lot in order for it to be usable.
Yeah, well, and this is what we call a side lot. These are the common type of properties that we see. And that's part of the reason for some of these, what were they thinking deals here in the beginning. We're trying to point out the type of properties that you need to avoid if you're going to get started with land. We always talk about how we love land, and it's a great way to buy properties, but there's a lot of bad land out there.
Yeah, useless land is so risky.
Yeah, I mean, really, unless you were the property owner, what use does that have?
Yeah.
Who are you going to sell this particular property?
Unless you were the homeowner.
Unless you were the one with the pool. The nice house with the pool, and you wanted to have an extra 5-10 feet.
It very well could have been them that lost the property in the first place.
Exactly, because why keep paying the property taxes, especially if the county is jacking up the value? See, if we look down there at the bottom right-hand corner,
it went from $12,000 to $18,000 in 2 years.
Yeah, well, and so at that point, they're giving it a value of $18,000, they may have to pay $500 a month or a year on it or something. And why keep paying on it? It doesn't have any use. We're not going to. Yeah, nobody can do anything with it. Let's go ahead and go back to the county.
Yeah, it's one of those properties where the person that basically they could let it go and they're not worried about anything happening because it's not big enough to use for anything.
Well, and one thing to point out: this is a Florida property, which means that somebody bought this tax lien.
Yeah.
Then went ahead and sat on the tax lien for long enough to take that opening bid all the way up to $4,000, which I'm going to guess there were 7 years worth of back taxes on this. Maybe not. We could probably look into the record to see.
It probably was.
But I'll bet that there were 7 years worth of back taxes, and so somebody who bought one of those liens went ahead and they got paid off.
Yeah.
Good for them. They went ahead and foreclosed on it, sent it to the tax sale, which in turn it ended up getting purchased. So that whoever is the original owner of that property now is going to have access to the overbid.
Yeah.
So if that owner did lose the property right there, let's say that they did own it.
Yeah.
And they lost the property, now because it sold for $25,000 and they only owed $4,000, they can go ahead and go back and collect that $20,000 in profit.
Yeah.
That original property owner.
Yeah, because it sold for way more than they would ever be able to sell it for on the on the regular market.
They couldn't sell it on the open market because it doesn't have any potential use. It doesn't even have like a use where you could park cars on it, or it's too skinny to even do a garden.
Yeah.
And so this property owner, whoever's the original owner, and that's the whole idea behind overage is trying to collect that property owner to that additional $20,000. A lot of the states are getting more strict on it. It's never something that we really pursued as much, but it's kind of funny to think about.
Yeah. It is such a useless lot. It's about 20 feet wide. It could be subject to easements and stuff too. It doesn't look like there's anything that you could do with it. So yeah, that's $25,000 just poof.
Yeah, completely lost.
Yeah, just gone.
Avoid these type of deals. If you're watching us, you hopefully are. In fact, I was trying to look for a structured property that we could do one on in this same area. I wanted to find this area in Miami because it's kind of an area we use that is pretty competitive. I kept looking at the structured properties, and there was always about 50 to 60 grand of potential profit in each one of the deals. So I couldn't find anything over the last, a couple of months or so worth of looking back. But
that's funny. Well,